gentlemen, no, don't adjust your television sets. It is not Disney Plus. It is the Think Different Podcast, the only podcast with two former Apple retail employees with 20 years of combined experience. We discuss the news in the Apple universe and discuss our retail experiences. But this week, I am so proud to say that more rumors have come out for the new 14 and 16-inch MacBook Pro designs, plus Apple TV Plus has been plussed again. That's right, there's 3 more additional pluses because it's been extended for free for another 6 months. I am Will, TLD, the former Apple specialist, creative, and genius, and now you could call me father, Papa. That's right, Papa TLD is here, along with every week, unfortunately, is Mr. Keto, Frank Funk. Mr.
That's not, come on, give me a break. Jeez.
Well, I'm so sorry, Frank. I apologize. But I just want to say I feel great. If you noticed, I look much clearer now. I got myself a GoPro. I look amazing on camera now. And our YouTube channel is doing great. In fact, Frank, talk about it. You put out our most recent episode on YouTube, which was all about numbers. How did you feel that went?
Well, I thought it was pretty good. Watching it back or listening to it, there's some things that I need to work out, but
you should still watch it. Don't worry about that stuff. Don't worry about that stuff. But I mean, talk about the things you talk about in that episode.
Well, we talked about is just the basic setup, the headers, footers, the body of the spreadsheet, the cells, how to format the entire body so that when you add rows and cells, all of that formatting goes with it. So you really only have to format it once, and it will continue as you increase the spreadsheet both out to the right and down.
And it was a real basic one, just like our Pages episode, which has really blown up over the last month. And I want to thank everybody for watching them. We're going to continue to create more YouTube content going forward. And to change up a little bit, the full podcast is going to be downloadable at our normal Apple Podcast, Spotify, Amazon, and Pandora platforms. But what we're going to do for YouTube, instead of having the whole podcast up there, we're going to cut it up a little bit. We're going to cut it down to just articles based on what we talk about. So today we're going to have 2 major topics, and they're going to be 2 separate videos. That way we don't have to bog you down with the same thing over and over. Maybe there's one subject you like more over the other, and we're going to break that up. So we hope you guys join us on our YouTube channel, and of course keep it real zeal here on the podcast. But we got to talk about what happened this week, Frank, because this is a pretty big week. We were both there for this special reveal, this big Apple event that they did on January 15th of 2008. Steve Jobs introduced the very first MacBook Air during the Apple keynote address at Macworld Conference. Who remembers those? The first generation MacBook Air was the 13.3-inch model, initially promoted as the world's thinnest notebook, and I have to say the biggest awe moment of that part was the fact that he took it out of a novel envelope.
Yeah, that's right. It was all dramatic effect, man. Just slid it right out of there, and everyone went, wow.
It was it's amazing. If he didn't do that, I wonder what the difference of the feedback would have been if he just showed it. The fact that he had it in this envelope, he pulled it out of the envelope, it was truly a revolutionary product. It created a brand new bunch of MacBooks that still exist today.
Well, yeah. Well, he opened up the ultra thin market. I mean, up to that point,
Well, there were ones that were around, but not like this, not this thin. And now you look back on it. Yeah, there's some things they could have done better on that design. The hiding of the ports was, a little silly of the design. But they had to do that in order to get to it. It was a pain in the butt to repair. I'm lucky I never got to have to repair that machine. It was only around for a very short generation before they came up with the new model, which we were accustomed to for the next 8, maybe next 10 years. Yeah. So to what we had now. And then this newer generation MacBook Air, we have the USB-C. But this started it all. This very first MacBook Air was introduced on January 15th of 2008.
Yeah, I really missed those keynotes. They were different.
Mm-hmm.
Not that
they were thinking different, like the Think Different podcast, right?
That's right. Yeah. The ones that they offer today are fine. They're done very well from a uh, video perspective, but I don't know. I just think they lack some punch.
Well, there's no surprises like they used to be anymore. I think that's the problem, is that those keynotes they were also very underground. Remember, you couldn't watch those.
Right.
So that was what made them special too, is that you could not watch these keynotes. It took a while for them to make it open to the public for people to watch. Otherwise, you had to go find it on like some, hidden website in order to watch it. So that's what made it cool too, is that it was very private. Now anybody could watch it. Although I will say in 2020, they definitely improved them with the new look without having a crowd. So I will say they reinvented it again. And I wouldn't be shocked if that's the formula going forward.
Well, I got to tell you, sticking with that formula, I've seen other companies do much the same. Harley Davidson just had their virtual release for their 2021 product, and it was reminded me very much of the Apple reveals. So I think a lot of people are taking off on that same thing.
Well, before I go forward, we got to make sure that our non-sponsor for this episode is Zevia. I got to have one.
Have two.
Just got to two.
Free.
It's funny how it's a soda, but you notice, Frank, I never call it that.
Yes.
I always call it Zevia because I don't call it soda. I don't call it Coca-Cola. I don't call it Coke. I call it Zevia because it is, for me, something completely different, and it's damn good. Apparently, the cream soda flavor is the flavor to go with. That's the word on the street.
Now, where do you buy that at? You
Amazon.
order online, right?
Amazon. In fact, I buy individual packs. So I have like 3 different styles of Zevias I buy. So eventually I can get to that 15% discount by buying so much stuff and, or subscribing in the same month. That's probably the smartest thing to do. You get a good discount that way. Let's talk about the very first thing we want to talk about. This was exciting news for me. This was like really, really exciting.
Well, you've been waiting for this.
I've been waiting for this, and I told you it was going to happen, Frank. It was one of my guarantees for 2021. The 14 and 16-inch MacBook Pros that are coming in 2021 will feature the most significant design overhaul in the MacBook Pro line that we've seen since 2016. And the updated machines will also address the complaints that users have had for the MacBook for years, bringing back some of the old features. The number one favorite of mine, MagSafe. You're going to have more USB ports and physical function keys, removing the touch bar. And that is all the rumors that happened in the previous week. I was really excited for this news. There's obviously a render above us right now. If you look above us, we have like a render of a MacBook Pro there. But this is what the Apple analysts, I believe Mark Gurman and Min-Jin Kuo, who are like the 2 best well-known news people to talk about these designs. But Frank, what did you think when I sent you that article about this?
The biggest thing, when it was said that the MagSafe was coming back, I remember when they took it away, I was like, are you kidding me? That was such a big selling point. And
who's the moron that came up with that? I wonder why. Like, I think they just wanted a cleaner design, and I think they thought USB-C would be the way to go. But the fact that they never had it magnetically attached for the power supply was one of the coolest, smallest features of the Mac. That really, and the fact that when they talked about it in the iPhone 12 made me think they might bring that back because they brought the name back.
Yeah.
So,
I always used to use I used to travel a lot for the company I worked for. And, one of the biggest things, you're in an airport and, you're plugged in, somebody would come by and trip on your cable or whatever, and bam, there goes your laptop. With the MagSafe, it just pulled it out and, you were good. Your machine was still intact.
Mm-hmm.
It didn't have to be in an airport, could be in a dorm, could be. So it was a nice point to bring up when you're purchasing something about this connection, that the dog could trip over it or pull it out and it wouldn't pull your device off the desk. So I'm glad to see that they're bringing it back. I think it's
it's speculative. Don't say that, Frank. You're going to start the rumor mill.
Well, I'll talk to Tim tonight and make sure that he.
Oh, yeah, that's right. I forgot you had that connection.
Yeah.
And also with the display, they plan on making mini LED displays, which is going to be great for power significance. With that, that's a big rumor going to these. Obviously, the touch bar going away is a pretty big deal because they put a lot into it. In fact,
Yeah.
they force you to have it on these new MacBook Pros. And again, I've already disdained. I do not like this touch bar at all. It doesn't add anything to me. They never improved on the touch bar. It's been around for almost 4 years. Nothing has changed with that touch bar except for raising it a little bit higher, just to make sure you don't accidentally hit it. It's time for it to go, Frank. I just think
Well,
you don't have a Mac with a touch bar, right?
no, I don't.
So you don't know the pain.
Well, see, my thought on this is that whenever you try to change something on a piece of equipment that's been that way for 60 years, well, I'm talking about the QWERTY keyboard.
Right.
There are other keyboards out there that when you learn how to use them, you can actually type faster.
Right.
And they just never took off because people don't want to learn a different keyboard. It's just so ingrained. And with that keyboard are those function keys. And I think that's the big thing. People are like, what's it? How do I work this? They want to hit the button just like they would hit a key, right? And I think that was the biggest downside to it. It was just a tough thing for people to get their head around.
All I asked from Apple was to give options. Like,
Yes.
if people want the touch bar, make a touch bar model, sell it for $200-$300 more. If they don't want it, make them have the function row. Make them have a choice. Because some people do like the touch bar. I'm sure a lot of people do the touch bar. My cousin purposely wanted a Mac that had a touch bar because I asked her, are you really going to use it? And she said, yes. So I said, okay.
Well,
So,
why couldn't they make an option in the system preferences that you can use it as the touch bar or make a section of the touch bar the function keys and leave it there permanently?
There's no feedback on them. That's why. If they add a feedback, it might change the perspective of that. But yes, I would agree. Imagine them just having you make the decision on that. That's fine too. But I think people want the touch and the hit. And if the touch bar had the feedback built into it, that might change a little bit. Or you're at least giving us an option to put a regular function row back. Yeah. So now, to add on that a little bit, this has nothing to do with this subject, but Apple did extend a free repair program that's been going on for a while. There's these backlight issues. Now, on the bottom of your screen, you would see like little hints of black going up on the bottom. This is something at the Genius Bar we saw a lot. The program
kind of like stage lights.
Stage lights, yeah, that's a great way to put it. So they have these like little stage lights, and Apple is extending that silently for these issues. Now, the original program covered laptops for 4 years after the first unit was sold. The company then changed it to 5 years as of today, which is the vintage limit. So that means that what that tells me is that every display they install has this problem, and they're not making new displays. That's what I'm reading the lines with. And affected models that are sold between October 2016 and February 2018. And they have this free repair covered. So that's what you want. It's a little small thing, but they have a couple of quality programs out there. This is one of them.
Well,
they just made it longer.
What's that repair without it being extended? What's that cost?
Well, display would cost $475 to fix.
Yeah, so it's not so such a small.
No. Anytime you're buying a Mac, you have to understand parts are expensive to repair in these things. Display, my screen alone, my 15-inch screen, is almost an $800 cost with tax.
Yeah,
that's insane. Okay, so don't break them.
Is it a manufacturer's defect? I wonder if it's the supplier that maybe they changed suppliers because of this.
Well, that's Samsung because they make these displays.
Samsung makes them all.
Yes, they do.
Okay. Well, there you go. Little sabotage, maybe.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. Well, I'm sure they had to hit Samsung with the bill. This also actually reflects the anti-coating issue. You might remember that one, Frank,
yes.
Where there was a coating of the display that was being removed. They also extended that program longer. I remember that was coming to an end, and then they just brought it back again. So those are just a couple of programs going on right now with your Mac. So if you have one of those Macs, check it out at the Apple Store. Probably got to make an appointment online. You can't just walk in anymore, and you have to depot that repair. And normal repairs take 3 to 5 business days. Knowing COVID, you probably have to add another week on that.
Yeah. Well, here's my topic for today.
Oh,
Apple is again extending the free period for the Apple Plus. 1 year free trials given out with hardware. With the latest announcement, Apple, with an Apple TV Plus subscription that was set to expire from now until June, will instead expire in July of 2021. This means customers who took advantage of the year free deal back when the service first launched will now be getting an additional 9 months of free access to Apple original shows and movies. So I guess you could say that's the Apple TV plus 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 plus
yeah,
plus.
that's the plus 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 plan, where it never stops plussing and always keeps adding, which is actually adding and plussing are the same thing.
The reason I think they did this was because really because of COVID. The new content was halted, and luckily, most of the shows, their original content shows, had ended with the series one, and they just couldn't get anybody in to continue on the series two. Now, Servant just released season two, and that's pretty. That's it's a good show, but it's kind of freaky, but it's good. Like I expected C to hit before that did, but it didn't. And of course, the morning show and Truth Be Told, a lot of those, they're just sitting there right now. I'm assuming they're in production, but who knows?
Yeah, they have a lot of new things coming up. Billie Eilish is going to have her documentary. Cherry by Tom Holland's coming out. Palmer, which is going to be a new series with Justin Timberlake's on that. So they have some big names that they're introducing on here. So they have a lot of stuff. Now, the reason why I scuff at this is because they are worried that if they started charging a subscription fee, the amount of people that would drop off would be so high that it would not pay to keep it on.
You think at $4.99?
Absolutely. And the fact, the latest show that I heard has been good is Ted Lasso with Jason Sudeikis, and
right.
apparently a lot of people like that show. So yeah, they have a lot of stuff on there, but I gotta tell you, I have not gone back and watched a show in a while.
The only show that I didn't, not that I didn't care for it, it just was hard for me to get into, was Dickinson, about Emily Dickinson. I just, and like you just mentioned, Billie Eilish with her documentary. I'm like, what has she got to document about?
Way overrated, dude.
I mean,
not a fan of that. I am not a fan of that girl.
I'm like, she has some nice songs. Some of her stuff is good, but I don't know. I'm like, she's what, 20, if that?
I don't know. She's famous, and she's,
I would like to hear more about her brother than her. Her brother's the I'll say engineer, but he's the one that does the music and writing and stuff. So, but I don't know
more about her than I do. So
I just don't know what she has to talk about.
She's too young, right? It's like,
well, come on, I'm not going to bring age into it. I mean, there are young artists.
How much experience can you have at 20?
I don't know. I was pretty experienced at 20.
Well, I have experience at 22, but that's for something completely different that cannot be shown on Apple TV Plus. Now, another series I like is Home. I watched that one with all the unique housing that was built. These people build their homes and they changed them up. I thought that was really cool. We did Trying because me and my wife could relate to that, where they're unable to conceive and going the path of adopting. Like that one kind of hit home a little bit.
That's the one I forgot about. But yeah, that was pretty good. The one oh my God, I hated. I watched it. It had got so much hype. I couldn't wait to see it. I watched it and I went, really? Now I forgot the title of it.
It better be For All Mankind.
No, that was good. No, this was with Bill Murray. What's the one with Bill Murray?
I don't know. So, I couldn't tell you.
Oh, I forget. But
that On the Rocks.
Yes, On the Rocks. That's right. You're correct. I was so hyped for that. I thought this was going to be a good comedy, and I was like, it didn't do anything for me. Nothing at all. And I'm a big Murray fan. But maybe, he's mellowing out in his old age. I don't know. But it didn't hit home for me.
Well, I'm hoping with Apple TV Plus they have some kind of really big hit going on. Like I said, I just forget that it even exists because I just started watching Cobra Kai on Netflix. We skimmed through that first season. Really amazing.
You liked it?
Absolutely. Absolutely. Because I'm not as emotionally attached to the movie as some people are. And if you're really attached to the movie, you might not like it for some reasons. But for this new story, it's basically in the same universe, but they're not relying so much on the past story. But yes, they're showing back different things. But like that show the past. But I really dug him. Even Tara, my wife, absolutely loved it.
I keep seeing it, and I keep thinking, do I want to give it a shot?
Try it.
Right. All
right. Well, ladies and gentlemen, that was our podcast for this week. Not too much going on in the world today, but we wanted to come up here. But we have to end on a high note. As you can see in my background, I have the American flag colors because as of this taping, the inauguration of Mr. Joe Biden has happened. He's in office. No controversy happened. No riots happened. Everyone was peaceful. And we're moving forward with another 4 years. Apple stock went up today, so that was a good thing. So I guess they were very happy with the inauguration. So that's good for me. So that's always a good thing, right, Frank?
Yes, it is. That's right. Keep buying those stocks.
That's right. Keep buying those stocks so you can make me more money, man. That's the goal. So, Frank, you want anything you want to say in this new country that we're supposedly living in?
Well, it's the same country. It's change of leadership. That's what I think. I hope they do. I'm a little reluctant to believe that's what will happen, but
Well, I'm going to end on this note. This is a tweet from Tim Cook saying, "Congratulations to President Biden and Vice President Harris on this historic day. Inspired by your vision of unity and your immediate actions on climate change, immigration, and COVID-19, one nation, indivisible." What a suck up. All right, everybody. Thank you very much for joining the Think Different podcast. And make sure you check out all of our episodes, not only on all of our platforms that we have for podcasting, that's everywhere, but also on our YouTube channel. Thank you again for another great week, everybody. And I love every single one of you.
peace out.
No one tells a